one of the issues of physiotherapy, and unfortunately I need to correct an article that's gone up this morning, which has stated that there's been cuts to the physiotherapy service. There's been absolutely no cuts to the physiotherapy service. The staffing level has been exactly the same over the last 4 years. There's been no posts lost, but what there is a shortage of staff. And it's the same in the UK, where we're carrying several vacancies. We're carrying a maternity leave post, we're carrying a long-term sick post, and basically that has had an impact. But what we are also seeing is we're seeing an increase of demand on the service as well, and we've been seeing that for around about 18 months now. So that has meant that the self-referral, and that's the important bit, the self-referral side of it, is taking 10 to 15 weeks before people are seen.
When there have been issues for 18 months, shouldn't better contingency plans been put in place by now?
Well, you've got to have the staff to do that, and as I say, there's a shortage of physiotherapists and access to them in the UK as well, so that is having a knock-on effect on Ireland. We've been trying to use locum cover, but that hasn't always been able to be located and actually put in place. One of the things I do need to stress is that people who are post-operative are still being seen within the 10 days. That is the standard for them to be seen. But the other thing I need to correct as well, because there was the article this morning, which I believe played the answer phone message, that isn't for new patients. That is actually for people who've already seen a physiotherapist and are then being referred back in for further treatment. That's not the number.
It could still be a very urgent issue, though, couldn't it?
Then there's other ways they can contact. They can contact the service by email, etc., and people are triaged accordingly. But there is a demand at the moment on the service, and there is pressures. We are trying to deal with that, but again, we require the staffing to be able to do so and to be able to locate those staffs.
What more can you do then, if you've been doing it for this amount of time already?
Well, this is the problem. It literally is around getting locums in place to be able to support.
Is it a priority?
One of the things, well, physiotherapy leads into other treatments, of course, so it is one of the sort of feeder services, because if you don't get it done, so what's important is that we triage, that we ensure that the people who are the more serious are seen first, and that does mean, unfortunately, for some of those further down the list, that it will be an extended wait and probably frustrating for them. But we are looking at the provision of the service and the way that it's delivered overall. But I do need to stress again, there has been no cut to the physiotherapy service. The staffing level is exactly at full complement. If we could get a full complement, it would be exactly the same as it was 4 years ago. But we have seen an increase in demand, and we need to understand why we've seen that increase.
And at what stage, for say a new customer right now, new patient, is the minimum waiting time? Well,
like I say, it would depend. If they're post-operative, then the standard is for them to be seen within 10 days. If they're actually self-referring, depending upon them being triaged, it could be 10 to 15 weeks.